Hello, this is the second video. This is Eli James of Hold'em Training. We're going to be doing heads up today. This is a session I did with my good friend Joshua Purney. We met at a West Coast Poker League, so shout outs to Efren Juarez, West Coast Poker League. And so, yeah, this is where we met. So this is a session I did with him. He asked to record it, and so I did. And I'm basically going to just walk through my thought process with each hand, and hope that you guys get a better feel if you're trying to learn. Hope you guys get a better feel of how to play no limit hold'em heads up. Here I checked twice, and then I made a bluff on their end. Obviously, I'm not beating any of the hands except for 3-4, and even then it would be a chop. So I decided to check twice and then bet 2/3 pot to make it look like I had maybe an ace and was trying to get value from something worse and then couldn't. So I decided to make a desperate value bet on the river. So that's what it basically I was looking like. Here I'm in raised, and then with the ace, and then I check back. It's just a hand. It's just a board that he's going to be having a lot of hands that connect, that smash that flop. If not, they don't smash the flop, then he probably has at least a big draw. I have a big ace now, so I'm going to be 3-betting. I believe I 3-betted to 210. It's just a round pot. And he calls, and we flop top pair. If he has ace queen, or pocket deuces, I don't think he has queens. We're just not getting away from this. Heads up, top pair, especially aces, is a really strong hand. So we're not going to be folding. In fact, we're going to be trying to get all the money in, unless we get some sort of read on our opponent. And the turn is actually even better. It might be a little bit worse. Not worse. A little bit better, because it makes it less likely that we have an ace. So if he has a queen, he's going to be even more inclined to be calling here. I decided here to make a really big bet, just to make it look like I had been barreling, maybe with a deuce, and then noticed, thought he had a queen. Apparently, he might have had a deuce, or had been calling off with king high, because he folded pretty fast on the turn. I think any hand with a queen probably was going to at least think about that before calling or folding. Here we have the open-ended straight draw. We can call or raise here. I decided to call, just to balance out when I have hands like ace-jack in this spot that are going to be calling off when they could raise. The river is the term is a really good card, obviously. The river is a really bad card. I decided to call because I just didn't believe him, and we chop, obviously. But that was a really bad card, because not only does it bring the third spade, but at best case scenario, we're going to be chopping the pot. So that's with all of his value betting hands. At best case, we're chopping the pot there. Here I have an open-ended straight draw. I decided to check raise this one. I could have check raised the last one, but I want to be able to mix up my play. Especially heads up, mixing up your play is a really big, really key thing to do. You definitely don't want to be you want to be doing the right, you want to be making the right moves, but you don't want to be caught in a robotic formation where every single hand you're supposed to play it a certain way, so that's the way you're going to play it. Because if you do that, then your opponents get a read on you pretty quickly. And so obviously he made that raise on the turn. There's really not much I can do there. I'm not even sure that if I make my straight, I'm not even sure if I'm going to get paid. If he has a real hand, I'm probably not going to get paid by anything worse. And right there, that's a value bet. As weak as my hand looks, heads up, that's actually a really good hand considered the board. He could have a lot of hands that call off with ace high. He's going to have a lot of draws. He could even have hands like 10-9 that are just floating the flop to see if I check, and then maybe he hits an open-ender straight on the turn and decides to raise me off that. I could 3-bet this hand, but I just decided to fold. There are going to be some of the time where he's raising, he's going to obviously be bluffing, and some of the time he's going to be having real hands. So when you have hands like deuce 8, you're going to want to either 3-bet or fold. There's no way you're going to be calling with those types of hands. I don't exactly agree with this call right here. I would have liked to see a 3-bet or a fold. King 6, I mean, there's just not a lot of flops that are going to be coming up on the board that really connect with my hand and get me paid. So I would like to have seen a fold or a re-raise. Right here, that's a very draw heavy board. It might not look like it, but there's a lot of hands like 3-4, 7-8, 7-9, I'd say 8 jack. Hands that at least sort of connect with the board. And Joshua's been the kind of player from the heads-up sessions that I played with him. He's been the type of player where if he's consistently betting pot, he usually doesn't have it. Some of the time he will, but most of the time he doesn't. And so as you can see here, I was good up until the turn, actually. So not very much. I decided to raise the Queen 5. I want to be raising a lot of buttons, almost every single button. I don't think there was one button that I had in the session where I just called. Make the standard continuation bet. You want to be betting a lot of your strong hands. Sometimes it would make sense to slow play. As some people think that if you have a huge hand, you have to slow play it to get paid off, and that's just not the case. A lot of times, especially if you're balancing your ranges by betting with weak hands, when you bet out with strong hands, it's harder for people to give you credit. I decided to 3-bet here to definitely just to balance ranges for when I have big aces. He seems to be the player who doesn't 4-bet very often. Here, I just make the standard continuation bet, and he raises. He knows that I know that there's not a lot of hands that, it's really, really hard for you to make a hand on that kind of board. And he knows that. So that's why he raised. And so I know that he knows that. It's just another level. There's like 3 or 4 levels where, I know that he knows, and so on and so forth. I just knew that he knew that there wasn't a lot of hands that I could have there. So re-raising made the most sense to me. Just calling for a 4-outer. I wasn't given the right odds to call for a 4-outer, so at that point my options were either re-raise or fold. Here I have a pair of 9s and I check, and he checks back. The board's just getting worse for me. There's really no hands that I can bet with, or there's really no hands that I'm betting into that are going to get calls that are worse than mine. I decided to check it down the entire way, and luckily he didn't have anything better. I didn't think I was going to get paid if I bet. And I just decided to fold right there. I would have raised that, but I just needed to, as you can see I'm typing in the video, I just needed to make sure that my video was either 15 minutes or 15 minutes or longer. Some YouTube accounts don't allow you to make or upload videos longer than 15 minutes. Here I let out. Again, I don't agree. I don't agree with this move. I would have liked to see a check and probably a check fold. Sometimes a check call. He calls again. He calls twice, and I believe I decided to check. I would have bet, but I decided to check. There's just a lot of hands he's going to still calling with. Obviously, he had the bottom of his calling range. I still don't know if I would like to think that he folds, but realistically speaking, I don't think he's going to fold a 3 in that spot. He's seen me, just bet out with wild hands a lot of the time. Here, I like to see myself just make another standard continuation bet. A lot of the times when you betting with your strong hands, you might get frustrated when your opponent doesn't call or doesn't raise. But I feel like, in my opinion, in the long run, it's a better move, because there are going to be spots where they just don't believe you. when you have it, and you actually do have it, but they just won't believe you, and so they're going to be raising you with a lot of marginal hands, and then you can re-raise them and lull them into thinking that you're just raising because you think they're bluffing. It goes check check on the flop, and then so I made this raise here, or not the raise, but I'm sorry, a bet. Make it look like I was checking to the button, the person in position, maybe with a 9 or with an 8, and then when the board paired, I decided to bet out and try and get value. So it was a good bluff on my part. Of course, he could, it's possible he had a hand worse than mine, but I still feel like the play is correct. Here I go ahead and make a continuation bet again. And he folds. So it looks like he's not continuing too often, unless he has some sort of draw or a made hand, or he feels like his ace high is good in some spots, which in heads up is very often the case. Don't be afraid to call down with ace high in a lot of spots where you feel like your opponent could have hands like 9-10 on a 8-jack 6 board, things like that, or they might have king 5 of clubs on a ace of clubs, 3 of clubs, 5 of diamonds kind of type of board. Here I made the standard continuation bet after I 3-bet, and I think he decides to raise. There's going to be a lot of hands where he's just bluffing wildly. Obviously, an ace is an amazing card for me. I definitely, he bets really large. And again, we've seen him, I decided to go all in, to go probably get maybe hands like pocket 9s, or a deuce, ace deuce maybe, things like that. Because, and we've seen him bet pot several times, and he's not been doing that with the strong hand. Here we go, check check, and we end up at the bottom of the full house. I overbet here, I believe, which is betting larger than the size of the pot. I probably would like to see myself overbet only if the queen on that board was more like a deuce, because then it makes ace high a much more likely hand. I don't think ace high is going to be, or king high, either one. I don't think either one's going to be calling down when the board has a straight draw and full house draws. I don't think Joshua's not that bad of a player to where he's going to be calling ace high on that kind of board. He's a pretty good player, so I don't think he's going to be someone who's doing that. Here I have the second nut flush draw. You really want to put pressure here in this spot. Make him really question the strength of his hand. I decided to just go all in, and he folds. And a lot of time, I've seen this video a couple times before I decided to do audio on it, and I don't really know what hands he's going to be bluffing there that he's not willing to call off. Ace high is going to be good a lot of the time there. There's hands like 3-4, 4-6 that I can have that are worse than ace high and have draws, but ace high is going to be good a lot of the times in that spot. Here I decided to just go all in. I have a big ace, and I can put a lot of pressure on him. He calls with the worst ace, and we flop 3 of a kind. So it's always easy to win. When you're making big hands like that. So we win the session. So I hope this helps, and I'll definitely be making more videos in the future. So give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and also watch some of my battles that I have. See ya.